Gigantic, ancient, and despite their primitiveness, very skillful, cold-blooded hunters. They inhabited the planet long before the advent of man, and despite cataclysms, they have survived to this day, and they are one of the largest reptiles on the planet. You are on the channel Animal Instinct, and today we will look at pythons in action. Don't forget to rate this video, and may the python's composure be with you. Sit back, let's get started. If you see such a hole, then it is better to get out of there as quickly as possible because this could be the home of such a worm. Pythons are a very famous family of snakes, many of whose members are real giants, for they are capable of growing over 23 feet in length and weighing over 140 pounds. They have a whole range of abilities that allow them to survive in very difficult conditions. But first things first. Pythons chose a humid tropical climate for their habitat, and they chose warm tropical forests as well as savannas. Therefore, the maximum concentration of these snakes occurs in Southeast Asia, Africa, and, of course, the northern part of Australia. Interestingly, pythons, in particular Burmese ones, were also brought to North America, where after Hurricane Andrew in 1992, many of them were released, and they quickly took control of the south of America, destroying almost all small and medium-sized mammals there. Pythons see poorly, but they don't really need this because their senses are excellently developed. When hunting, every 2 to 3 seconds, the snake sticks out its forked tongue. It collects the smallest particles of odors and transmits them to the Jakubson's organ located on the palate, with each part of the tongue entering its own hole. Thus, the python very accurately determines where the source of the smell is located and in which direction it is moving. And besides, he belongs to the pit-headed snakes, which means that he has small depressions with thermoreceptors on his head. The signal from the receptors is transmitted directly to the brain and then turns into an image, so the python can easily determine a target of the required size. A moment, and the cautious rabbit did not even move. Pythons are non-venomous snakes and kill their prey by strangulation. He throws the rings on, and with each exhalation, the victim squeezes harder and harder. The resistance usually lasts no more than 2 minutes, and in this way it can immobilize very large prey. And there are usually no problems with eating because the jaws are also designed unusually. For example, the lower jaw consists of 2 halves connected by elastic ligaments, and it can stretch very widely. And this is what a python's mouth looks like. It may seem like it has no teeth at all, but that's not the case. The snake has as many as 6 rows of sharp, inward-pointing teeth, so it is unlikely that it will be possible to escape from such a mouth. And the skin of a reptile easily stretches 5 times, and pythons can eat prey that is simply huge in relation to its size. Plus, they remain mobile, and even with such a load inside, they can crawl slowly but surely. True, this is still a big risk for the snake. Therefore, after the hunt, she tries to digest lunch as quickly as possible. To do this, her heart begins to work 50% faster, pumping more blood through vital organs, and her metabolism speeds up 40 times. Therefore, in 5 to 6 days, a python can digest almost any size prey, and the energy received will be enough to go hunting the next time only in 2 to 3 months. And this despite the fact that approximately 1/3 of the energy received from prey is spent by pythons on digesting this very prey. Moreover, this is a universal hunter, and pythons, despite their size, are able to easily climb steep cliffs. The snake clings to the rock with scales located below and strains the intercostal muscles to move upward. It looks, of course, very unusual, but despite the low speed, the python moves through such difficult terrain very successfully. Plus, they are excellent swimmers and can swim more than 3 miles without stopping. And if necessary, they can dive underwater, remaining there for up to 20 minutes, so you should walk in such places very carefully. Although pythons are not stupid snakes at all, they will not attack a target they cannot eat. For example, in this staged video, The snake did not attack the buffalo, no matter how these guys tried to provoke it. And, despite the fact that there are documented cases of pythons attacking people, this usually happens in self-defense of reptiles. What is noteworthy is that cypetons themselves are much larger than males, and in addition they are very caring mothers, which is not common among snakes. For example, during pregnancy, a female stops hunting large prey so as not to damage the eggs. She carefully selects a place for her future nest because the survival of the offspring depends on it. The ideal place is usually some kind of burrow under the roots of a tree. Depending on the species, the female carefully lays from 30 to 100 eggs, which she then begins to warm. It creates vibrations in the body, thus increasing the temperature by 10 degrees. And for 90 days, she does not leave the clutch, because raccoons, mongooses, and monitor lizards do not sleep. From 40 eggs, approximately 30 snakes hatch, but some will immediately die in the crush without seeing the rays of the sun. And once free, most of them will die of hunger or become someone's lunch. Therefore, the mother stays next to the babies for another 2 weeks, because few will dare to attack when such protection is nearby. But soon the mother leaves, and the young reptiles are left to their own devices. This python will live a little longer, but if it manages to hold out for the first year, it will have a very good chance of living to a ripe 20-year-old age. Let's now see what pythons are like in action. I think no one will be surprised that pythons can attack poultry. They enter the chicken coop and attack the unfortunate chickens. At the same time, the snake acts quickly so as not to catch the eye of a person. But one chicken will not be enough, and the python immediately gets itself a second one. And here he attacked peacock, and as we see, the snake does not leave a chance for such goals. In the same way, he can attack dogs, and if the python is not pulled away, the outcome will be disastrous. It's good that local residents are already accustomed to the antics of these creeping hunters. He does not disdain flying foxes either. After all, pythons, despite their size, climb trees very easily. And there they can quietly sneak up on bats or foxes and attack them. Moreover, often the hunter and his prey fall down from the tree. But here, too, it makes sense to fight for life, because it was the flying fox who managed to escape from the deadly embrace. And the python is also at odds with other snakes, and above all with the king cobra. She is called the eater and snake. So cobras hunt young pythons with pleasure, but if the rivals are equal, then it is unknown who will win. In these shots, the python grabbed a much larger king cobra and wrapped itself around its head, so much so that the cobra could not do anything. Her position here is definitely not to be envied. But the cobra still manages to escape, after which she immediately chose to hide. And here, Cobra was the first to launch an attack. She bites the python several times before it decides to start the chokehold. But it's not wrapped around the cobra's head at all, and it continues its attack. And the python, realizing that it was losing, decided to give up this idea and slip away underwater unnoticed. Even alligators can become prey for pythons. Here, of course, everything depends on the size, and a python can easily swallow a fairly large alligator, let alone smaller alligators. He will not be able to get out of such a deadly embrace, and such fights can often be seen in swampy thickets. True, alligators are also very dangerous, and can give a worthy rebuff to a snake. Here he very successfully grabbed the python, and a duel of characters began. But these rivals agreed to a draw. Although in fairness, it should be said that large alligators easily deal with the python even before it has time to wrap itself around. And these deer decided to drink water. But it wasn't a crocodile that attacked from the poodley. Pythons also know how to approach their victims underwater and attack them with lightning speed. Deer and antelope in general are very common prey for pythons. Moreover, some of them are amazingly large. You even wonder how a snake can swallow such a trophy. but this toothy stocking will probably stretch over any prey. Moreover, horns are also not a hindrance for pythons. With such a burden, he still manages to move. But if you disturb a python after eating, it can vomit its lunch back. And this monster ate the whole goat. This reptile is not afraid even of predatory cats. He may be the first to attack the leopard if his life is at stake. True, it is quite difficult to entangle a dexterous cat with a reptile. Well, the leopard after the fight is not as aggressive as before. Although leopards do not give up trying to feast on large pythons, this is not so easy to do, and the snake easily hides in the water. And of course, if possible, the python will easily attack a cat cub, as happened with the black leopard. True, why the mother did not attack the snake remains a mystery to me. Perhaps the cub was already dead, and the python will not save against lions. Although the main goal of such attacks is to drive away the king of beasts, and often such attacks achieve results. And if that doesn't work, then you can always hide in a tree. And in this old video, a python was attacked by a tiger. He skillfully uses his teeth and claws, but the reptile does not give up and also bites. And then he gradually puts on his suffocating rings, and it becomes more and more difficult for the tiger to move, and he also cannot throw off such a snakeskin belt. Unfortunately, it is not known how the battle ended, but judging by the end of the video, the tiger had practically no strength left. But those who act smarter are hyenas. They first wait until the snake does all the dirty work, and then they simply grab the prey along with the hunter and take it to an open place. Python understands that he will not be allowed to eat in peace and leaves his trophy. Although usually hyenas don't even wait for the python to leave and simply steal other people's food. This master of hidden hunting turned out to be so strong and silent. I hope it was interesting and you liked the video. Then I will be very glad to see any of your assessments. Write in the comments, maybe I missed something. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on notifications. And I say goodbye to you for a while. For now.